How's it going? This is Max coming in from a not so sunny London. We're going to cover more SaaS Google Ads, and in particular, we're going to focus on bidding strategies today. Bidding strategies are vital. People talk about them a lot, and for really good reason, because if you can get it right, they can massively increase the number of conversions you're experiencing. They can massively change the type of conversions you're getting. But if you get it wrong, you can absolutely tank your account. It can kind of splutter into sadness and just stop running altogether, or just run extremely inefficiently if you get this wrong as well. So really important topic for us to cover. So this is actually a slide from a talk that I gave a few months back. Firstly, what is a bidding strategy? A bidding strategy is the strategy that Google will take when going in to bid for you. So bidding is always occurring within Google. It's an auction system. So if there's a search which is paid ads agency SaaS, there will be several different people potentially bidding on that particular search. And so it will go into an auction, and things like the amount that we're happy to spend in a cost per click, or the budget we have, or the quality score that our particular account has. All these kinds of factors will kind of play into whether we win that particular auction and how much we have to spend to get that click in general. So in its simplest version, we can be doing manual CPC. This is still a thing in Google. We still like to use it on brand campaigns in particular. I personally find at least, it's more efficient. This is where you are completely controlled. So you say, I only want to spend this much per click for each individual ad group or keyword that you're running. And so it's super, super controlled. There is enhanced CPC, but to be honest, that then just becomes Maximise Clicks, other factors, because it's so generous nowadays. And they do try to make that get turned on automatically. So if you're trying to do manual CPC, turn off enhanced CPC so that you can actually try manual CPC correctly. So that's the most simple version. I would personally only recommend that if you really know what you're doing, or for these brand campaigns like I talked about, where it's a really small campaign, and so you can be just particularly focused and kind of targeted with what you want to be spending and how. Then we have Maximise Clicks. So this is saying to Google, get as many clicks as you can. And as you can see, I kind of put it at the top of the list because this is a good starting point. When you don't have any data in the account, you want to just get some spend going, this is a great place to start. It can also potentially be good if you have a really small amount of searches in general, but they're really very targeted already. So if you're highly targeted and you're just trying to get more clicks for a very targeted thing already, then Maximise Clicks can sometimes also be good. Like if you're a really niche offering, for example, that can sometimes be the case. But generally speaking, we want to move towards Maximise Conversions. So Maximise Conversions, of course, is trying to get as many conversions as we can. And importantly, this is only primary conversions, not secondary. So be careful on which you're setting as primary or secondary. A nice hack I have is if you don't have enough primary conversions, you can combine signups, marketing qualified lead, and purchase all as primary, and then it lets Google look at any of those as good signals. I do talk about MQLs and SQLs and all this kind of good stuff and full funnel tracking in the previous video I just did. So if you wanted to learn about that, then go to that video. So Maximise Conversions is of course better because it's trying to get more actual conversions, which are more important than clicks. So you're moving down that funnel. So that is better. So once you can do it, but you generally still need roughly between 30 to 40 conversions, primary conversions, within a 30-day period. So it doesn't matter if your account is a year old, it doesn't matter any of these other things, you have to have had 30 to 40 conversions within a 30-day period is still the case to make Maximise Conversions work. If you try and do it too early, what can happen is Google essentially doesn't know what the fuck a conversion is for your account. And so it doesn't know which clicks to focus on. It doesn't know where to go. And so the whole thing kind of just falls apart, and it can literally just kind of splutter to a halt and just die on its ass, or at the very least be like extremely inefficient and not effective. The second stage after that, which is more nuanced, is Maximise Conversion Value. This is less often a good idea for SaaS because most of the time you are focused on just one core service or product. But some cases you can have some complex pricing structures like £50 package, 100, 200, 500. And so Maximise Conversion Value can take that into consideration and adjust. But it is a little bit more touchy because it needs more data, we find. And so often, actually, that doesn't work out. So I would often avoid maximize conversion value and keep it simple with maximize conversions and move towards the next step, which is, as I show, target CPA. So target CPA is target cost per acquisition. And so it's attached to maximize conversions. So you have a maximize conversions bidding strategy, but you say, I'm happy to spend £50 per sign up, for example, or whatever it might be. And that then tells Google, this is what you're allowed to do. You'll go out in the world and it looks for all the conversions which achieve that, and it spends your budget there as much as possible. Of course, if you don't have much data, this is difficult. And so this is why I have this further down the line. Of course, it sounds like a good idea, like you should give Google some restriction, but if you restrict Google too early, it doesn't find the good stuff. So often what we'll do is start with Maximise Clicks, build up some conversions, move to Maximise Conversions, which then speeds up everything and gets more conversions, but lets Google spend as much as it really needs to per conversion. And then once we're getting maybe 50, 60, 70 conversions, things are really scaling, we might then put target CPA in to say, all right, Google, now of those 70 conversions, some of them are just way too expensive. So you need to now hit a target cost per acquisition of, say, £50. And maybe 50 is actually a little above what you're actually looking for of, say, £40. But maybe you start with 50, let the system get used to that, spend some weeks on that, and then you move it down to 48, 47, and then 44. And you're essentially just gently pushing Google down. Because one of the big things about the bidding strategy system is it's very, very delicate. Like if you have your conversion tracking break for a week, it can absolutely annihilate the algorithm. It can really get confused. People think it's so intelligent and people think, you know, there's no job to Google Ads anymore. But you'd be amazed at how absolutely stupid the bidding system is actually when the smallest of things change or go wrong. So this is why target CPA is further down this funnel. You do want to aspire towards that, and generally it's a good idea. Although again, in some cases it does vary, and maybe you never use target CPA because you're just trying to max out Google, and maybe it's just working very well to let Google have some free rein to get as many conversions as it can. Finally, a more nuanced kind of strategy that we still go with sometimes is portfolio bidding strategies. So this is where you go in within the account, just Google it to find it. I can give you some more details in the comments if you leave a comment if you want to know more about this, where we can set a unique cost per acquisition goal per ad group within a single search campaign. So this is nice when sometimes you might have one ad group focused on one product or maybe a certain intent. So maybe let's just say you're a company that sells to enterprise and also small to medium businesses. So maybe the small to medium businesses, you know, you only make 5K per customer, but the enterprise you make 100K. And so you might have a higher cost per acquisition that you want to set for the enterprise type searches. Like maybe it's like, you know, corporate email finder software or something, or like enterprise level XYZ versus just like, you know, some simpler, smaller searches. And so then you want to say to Google, I'm happy to spend £400 per acquisition for this ad group, but for this ad group, I only want to spend £40. And so portfolio bidding strategies lets you set a unique cost per acquisition for each of these different ad groups throughout the campaign. So this is the kind of final nuanced one. We don't always use this, but sometimes it's a great way to kind of really bring some more nuance to a complex company with different types of ad groups that are doing very different performances that you want to direct Google a little bit further. So there we have it. These are the main bidding strategies that matter for a SaaS brand. Start with Maximise Clicks is really the best thing to do. If you ever have really big problems with Google, drop back to Maximise Clicks, and it's often going to be a way to kind of unlock some really basic stuff to just let Google start spending, get some good clicks in, you know, keep optimizing your targeting in other ways, like getting rid of bad search terms and other stuff like that. And then Maximise Clicks will kind of get you more of the good stuff that you've focused on is a safety net, but moving towards Maximise Conversions as we move forward with target CPA to kind of rein Google in sometimes. If you get stuck though, please do reach out, leave a comment below with any questions, and I would love to help you. I do this for a living. I've been doing it for over 8 years with my own agency. And yeah, I'm doing a whole series of these videos. So if you enjoy this stuff, please do subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.